You guys, remember that mother that was accused of leaving her 2 babies in her hot car to get lip filler? Well, it turns out that she was actually getting a BBL. I'm so tired of hearing the same story over and over again, but this happened in June 29, 2025, when 20-year-old Maya Hernandez had an appointment at this clinic called Always Beautiful Med Spa in Bakersfield. She took her 1-year-old and her 2-year-old to her appointment, and despite the spa employee telling her that she can bring her children inside the clinic with her, she still left them in the car. Maya claims that she left the AC on, she left crackers and drinks, and she mounted her phone so they can watch shows while she was at her appointment. She got to her appointment at 2 p.m. and she finished at 4:30, but it turns out that her car's AC automatically turned off after 1 hour. Now, between 2 and 4:30, Maya did not check on her kids once. And I find this so difficult to understand, because wouldn't any person with some common sense fear that their AC might turn off? So when Maya was finally done getting her BBL, she went to her car and she saw her 1-year-old foaming from his mouth. And I think this is the most torturous thing you can do to a person, because not only were these babies trapped in a boiling hot car, but they were also strapped into their car seats. And the story just gets worse, because the employee that works at the clinic testified and said that when Maya found her children in that state, it took her more than 15 minutes to call police. The police arrived, her 1-year-old wasn't breathing anymore and was pronounced dead, and her 2-year-old did survive. And I find this part to be very devastating, but also educational for anyone who has babies, even though you're not supposed to be leaving any child in the car. But it was said that the reason why the 1-year-old did not survive and the 2-year-old did is because of their age difference. And that's because babies at the age of 1 are not able to regulate their body temperature.
The seated leg curl leg extension machine is one of the most common machines for home gyms, but the resistance curve sucks.
The man that you just saw in that video is a pedophile. His real name is Kyle Devine, but he goes by Kaizen DIY Gym on all social media. Now, before his arrest, Kyle was actually a decently popular social media guy, where he was documenting his journey building a do-it-yourself gym in his own home. But in December of 2025, Kyle was arrested in Indianapolis on some extremely disturbing charges. So in late November 2025, Indianapolis police were called in to investigate a rape in northern Indianapolis. And after they visited the home and spoke with the victim, the story became incredibly disturbing. So according to the victim, who was 16 years old at the time, Kyle had raped her 3 different times. This 16-year-old was helping Kyle construct the gym in his garage when things suddenly became sexual. According to the victim, Kyle provided her with alcohol on numerous occasions, marijuana, and cigarettes. And the first time that he molested her, he assaulted her twice in the same day after plying her with alcohol. Then, a few weeks later, when Kyle's wife and family were out of the house, he invited the girl over to help with the gym again. And this time, Kyle, according to the victim, provided her with alcohol, cigarettes, and then raped her in his bed. When he was brought in and questioned by authorities, Kyle readily admitted that he had done this stuff, but he claimed that this was a consensual relationship with a 16-year-old girl. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this case because I find stuff like this to be incredibly disturbing, so follow along for more updates.
I found what I think is one of the creepiest paranormal photos I've seen. I'm just gonna move out of the way immediately. Obviously, you can't see anything, it just looks like a black screen. And this was actually from a tour in the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And just in case you're not terribly familiar with this is in Louisville, Kentucky, and it is considered to be one of the darkest places in the entire state. Whether you believe in ghosts or if you are a ghost hunter, I mean, if you are going to see a ghost, it's gonna be in a place like this. I remember doing like a ton of research on this place because back when they couldn't keep up with the death toll inside the sanatorium, they had body chutes underneath the building, meaning there were so many bodies that they quite literally had to create a tunnel system to just funnel all of them out of the building. This picture was actually taken by the wife of the original poster. According to that post, it was taken while touring the morgue because you're kind of free to roam around on these tours, and she was completely alone. After being told by guides to brighten your photos, this is what they found. In a room where you were supposedly alone, there appear to be a collection of people, one of which is looking right at you. A lot of people reviewed this photo, including the guide on that tour, and there is still no explanation they can come up with.
This is why you should never put your address online. One day, a single dad was talking to his son named Colby. Colby insisted before bed that his dad read him a scary bedtime story. The dad agrees and begins saying there once was a kid who played with a guy named Helper 23. Helper 23 and the boy played video games for hours and hours every night. The boy's birthday was coming up, so Helper 23 wanted to get him a birthday gift in real life. The boy, excited, gives Helper 23 his address. A couple weeks go by and the boy feels guilty for giving this man his address, so he calls for his dad in the room. He yells, "Dad," but no answer. He goes out looking for his dad and finds his dad hung in the garage and then looks behind him. He sees a man wearing all black smiling at him, and then he hears the baby crying. The mysterious man walks over to the baby's crib, picks up the baby, and then kills the boy. The son, looking confused, says, "Dad, why did the guy take the baby?" The dad looks at him and says, "I always wanted to be a father."
This is Israel Keys, and he did one of the most disturbing things to a young woman and her family that I have ever heard in my life. Israel Keys would be born in 1978 in Richmond, Utah, where he would be raised in a very strict Mormon household. As a teenager, though, Keys would find an innate interest in everything cruel and violent. Keys then would actually join the U.S. Army. He would be there from 1998 to 2001, where he would actually begin his life as a methodical murderer. Keys would do a series of very odd things to his bunkmates and other Army members, and it began to raise suspicion. But this all has nothing on what Israel Keys would do one day to a woman named Samantha Koenig. In Anchorage, Alaska in 2012, Israel Keys would kidnap Samantha Koenig from her coffee stand, hold her captive, and then kill her the next day, later staging a ransom photo using her corpse. In the photo, Keys would actually prop up Samantha Koenig's body to make her look as if she was still alive. He also would sew open her eyelids. But the thing is, Keys actually committed murders across the US. Keys actually set up kill kits across the United States that he would bury. These kits would have weapons, knives, rope, guns, whatever he needed to kill someone within the area, hidden within the ground. Israel Keys would actually be arrested in 2012 after he used Samantha Koenig's credit card. Keys would admit to several murders across the United States, but not give any details regarding them, and he would eventually unalive himself in his prison cell. It just goes to show you always want to watch your back, because
this right here is one of the creepiest things that you can experience, and thank God it was removed, cause what the hell. The thing you just saw was a video game called Sad Satan. The video game appeared around 2015 on the deep web, and from the place and the name of this game, you know that something is wrong, but you're not ready for what's next. It all started in 2015 when a YouTuber called Obscure Horror Corner found a link in a forum, and obviously the link was this game right here. Now, him not exactly knowing what is this, he probably thought it was just a horror game, so he clicked on the link and downloaded it. And when he launched the game, he pretty much got stuff like this, the title, and simple disturbing levels with black and white distorted images. But this is where the scary shit begins, because the more you advance in the game, the weirder and scarier stuff you will find. For example, you will find disturbing images like this, but let me tell you that this is only surface level, okay? And from now on, I'm not showing images, okay? First of all, because they're hard to find, and even if I found them, I am not showing them, I'm not displaying them. I told you, the more you advance in the game, the more this shit becomes messed up. If you're asking how, well, at some point, you will see videos of people getting... Yes, I'm dead ass, I'm not even joking. At some point, the game will force you to watch videos of people getting violently unalived. You know, basically the word that you get when you remove the L from lore and replace it with a G. Now, some people might be like, okay bro, I mean, I've seen worse. I know somebody that watched this stuff every day. What's so different here? Well, let me tell you that we're not finished. Because if you keep going anyway, then you will start hearing whispers and screamings of children. And yes, they are real. Guy who made this game, I don't know where the fuck he found all the videos, all the recordings, but he did. And if you like the game, then you are forced to see them all. If you're still not convinced that this is the creepiest shit somehow, well, let me tell you that in this game, I mean, this is the last thing, and if you're not convinced, bro, I don't know what's wrong with you. In this game, there is CP. If you don't know what CP means, man, you're a good guy. Stay like this. I didn't know what CP stands for until I searched the game. Oh, also, did I mention the fact that the game is a virus? Well, not completely, kind of. Once you execute the game on your device, PC, whatever, then it completely starts acting by itself. The game wants to freeze randomly, then it will freeze. If it wants you to see a message in your damn own PC, then make sure that you will see it. Whoever made this game is unknown, okay? Until this day, nobody found him. And don't worry, you cannot play this game. The game is entirely removed. It's damn near considered a lost media, meaning you cannot play it anymore. Even if you try to look it up, then you will only find the fake ones, okay? The real one was wiped off. I mean, thankfully, because what the hell is this?
There is a ghost in this picture of me when I was a little girl. Honestly, there's already been a handful of spirits that have been captured of me growing up and everything, but I just noticed this one and it looks creepy. It looks like there's a spirit of the man just looking right at me. I have to show you so you can let me know what you think. Okay, first let's take a look at the photo. So here I am at my friend's birthday party. I am right here. Go ahead and take a look at this photo and look at the year. It says 1998. Isn't that wild? I feel so old. All right, now let's zoom in next to me. Okay, so I'm actually freaking out a little bit because sometimes I can't see it. I will look at this picture and be like, okay, I really don't think I see anything, but I really do. You cannot tell me that that is not an eye. That is a legit eye. It looks like a man. It looks like this kind of like he's facing towards the side of me. There is a legit eye here with an eyebrow and hair. Are you kidding me? I have always said there is a spirit of a man attached to me, but kind of getting proof like this, like what? Like no one can tell me that that's not an eye. Like that is someone's face right here, and it's not a kid's face. It is like a man's face. Please let me know what you think in the comments because this is crazy.
Did you know that most home intruders do not break in? They walk in through your front door that's unlocked, your back door that's unlocked, your side door that's unlocked, or any of your windows that are unlocked, or even your doggy hole in some cases. Also, humans have evolved learning to be vulnerable at night, and we never de-evolved this skill as well. Also, when you wake up from a hypnic jerk, so when you feel like you're falling in your sleep, it's because your brain thinks that you're actively dying. Also, if you just recently locked your front door, it doesn't really matter because serial offenders often check door handles and windows weeks prior to breaking in, so they'll remember your house. In true crime interviews, most victims did hear something but dismissed it as house settling noises or them being paranoid in the middle of the night. Nighttime crime succeeds because people don't want to be wrong, so calling for help, 911, a family member, something, getting up to check, it's embarrassing when you're wrong. So this is why a lot of people get killed or get their home broken into as well. Also, most serial killers have been described as normal or kind or a really good stand-up guy by their neighbors and those closest to them.
I would get violent if I lost an acting award to a dog. Imagine working your entire career to get to the point where you can be eligible for one of these award shows, and then the director of the movie puts his dog in the movie, trains the dog about where to go, which I get that's impressive, but like the dog doesn't understand what's going on. Awards are to recognize people's hard work. The dog didn't necessarily like put any hard work into it. The dog was forced to be there and then listen to commands, which is impressive, but it doesn't trump another human's work. And this weekend, the adorable Indy the dog from Good Boy ended up beating Allison Brie and Ethan Hawke at the Astra Awards. Like, I don't think a dog should be winning any sort of award over an actor. I feel like that could be a separate category, even though there weren't really any other animals that could have been up for it this year. But I think it's really unfair to put that cute, adorable, lovely little dog in the same category as these hardworking humans. Like, this dog won Best Performance in a Horror or Thriller. That's a really big deal. Let me know if you agree with my take and follow for more freaky.
This disturbing and completely unexplained video has already gotten over 18 million views. It was posted by a young woman who went on a hiking trip in the Appalachian Mountains with her friends. According to her, at some point they started hearing strange sounds coming from somewhere in the distance. They decided to follow the noise, and what they saw left them absolutely shocked. The girl immediately pulled out her phone and started recording. In the footage, you can clearly see that the hikers managed to capture what appears to be a real centaur. For those who don't know, a centaur is a mythical creature from ancient Greek mythology, half human and half horse. And honestly, this doesn't seem to have any logical explanation at all. Could it really be possible that something like this exists in the Appalachian Mountains? I started looking into this topic, and it turns out this isn't even the only video where people have reportedly encountered real centaurs in the Appalachians. In all of these clips, people clearly try to keep their distance and record from hiding, because there's no guarantee that centaurs would be friendly toward humans. So what do you think this actually is? High-quality AI work? Or do the Appalachian Mountains really hide more than just skinwalkers and other dark creatures?
Scientists just discovered biblically accurate angels, and what they found will shock you. A newly released study by the Royal Astronomical Society shows documented evidence of a strange phenomena known as Dyson spheres, where they were able to detect intelligent life harnessing energy around home stars. When they released the official footage, the form in which this intelligent life was displayed shocked many. But the reason why this was so mind-blowing is because this looks exactly how the Bible describes a class of angelic beings known as the Ophanim. In Ezekiel 1:15-21, the prophet Ezekiel details about an encounter he had with an angel, and he describes their appearance as wheels intersecting wheels, with the rims around them all covered with eyes. Scientists unknowingly prove biblically accurate angels to be real, and this is not an extraterrestrial phenomena like they think, but actually an interdimensional being that the Bible spoke about thousands of years ago. Science does not disprove Christianity, but instead validates it, because the closer you get to truth, the closer you get to God. Everything is being revealed in this hour because these discoveries are a call to action from God himself to return back to him before it's too late. Seek forgiveness of your sin and ask God to cleanse you, because now is the time to surrender to Jesus Christ.
This is how they caught the Friday the 13th killer. Glenn had scripted his own real-life horror movie, and he was playing a game of cat and mouse with the police. He had nothing to lose. He didn't plan to see another night. Also, this is from the Friday the 13th murders documentary show. Police learned that the last time he saw his friend Greg, he gave him a note. Greg was also talking about the demon thing. He was saying that Glenn's voice sounded different. It was like something inside of him snapped. The handwritten note said, "Don't ask any questions, go under the bridge, there's gonna be a box, and listen to everything in that note." So the police went right to the bridge and they saw this ammunition box, and they were like, oh no, like we don't have time for anyone to see if it's gonna blow. So they opened up the box anyway, and inside were 3 letters. One was to Greg, one was to his parents, and one was to his girlfriend at the time. And then there was a tape too. These letters were Glenn's goodbyes. In the letters and the videos, he signs them as Damien, and I'm sorry to any Damiens out there. He said he needed to change his name to Damien because it would make him closer to Satan. His girlfriend was interning at the news station, and in the note that he put for her, he said, "Here's the story of the decade for you, princess." The police are also talking in this documentary. They're like, "We're so scared. We didn't know where he was. We didn't know what he had planned." That is some small town energy right there. They didn't know what to do, but they wanted to feel like they were doing something, so they just started driving around looking for him. They're like looking down alleys, looking at the park, and then eventually they got to the station and his car was there. And at first he put a weapon right under his chin, and the police were like, "Don't do it." And he said, "Here I am, you've got me," and he put it down. And it's interesting because during his arrest, he completely changed from this like maniacal monster. He was actually extremely cooperative. The reason behind this, he later revealed, was that he had failed Satan. He forgot the words to the incantation to finish what he was trying to do and not see the next day, if you get what I'm saying. He had 12 goals for the night, but he only ended up succeeding with one of them. Ken actually went to go see the court hearing, and Glenn's eyes were glued to him the whole time with hate in his heart. When everything was over, he stood up and he pointed at Ken like this, and he said, "If I ever get out, I will finish the job." And Ken said he wholeheartedly believes him. Our Friday the 13th killer desperately wanted the death penalty so he could go to the other side and see his father. You know, Satan. But they ended up getting him for 2 attempted murder and 1 murder instead of capital murder. And he is living out 3 life terms right now.
Creepy things found in people's houses. Found under a carpet. Found in the storage room. Found in a basement. Found in an attic. Found under a carpet. Found in an attic. Found in the storage room. Found in a drawer. Found in the wall.
We've
We've got some crazy things happening right now. The average US couple gets married after 5 years being in a relationship now, when it was only 2.5 years back in the 90s. A Florida man stole a Cybertruck, did $20,000 in damages, and then brought it to his house to tear it apart while the cameras were recording everything. 95% of all sales during Black Friday this past year were financed. 67% of that was not intended to pay it back in the next 30 days. I think everyone's struggling to maintain their normal status quo of life right now. A major AI conference was flooded with reviews about the conference written in AI. A 31-year-old Brazilian billionaire is saying that his entire fortune is gonna go to Neymar. He's still alive and legally registered it to him because of, quote, his humility and family values. A heavily intoxicated raccoon passed out in a liquor store bathroom after breaking in. A man tried to rescue an injured raccoon, got bitten on the face while driving, and then learned that it had rabies. Rage bait was named Word of the Year for 2025 by the Oxford University Press. Columbia, the sportswear company, pledged to give the entire company to anyone who can actually prove that the Earth is flat. A scientist decided that the bot flies that got into his skin can live there and reach maturity so that he can document what happens.
History facts you learned today.
The man that you just saw in that video was eventually murdered by the Mexican cartel, and before his death he was a famous social media influencer in Mexico who went by the name the Pirate of Culiacan. His real name was Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales, and Juan became extremely famous on social media at a very young age because he would frequently get extremely drunk, blackout drunk, take drugs, and post stupid dumb vlogs and videos. Now, keep in mind he was getting drunk and doing drugs and posting all of this while he was just 17 years old, but eventually Juan grew his pages to almost 790,000 followers on Facebook, 37,000 on Twitter, and 373,000 on Instagram, making him a bona fide social media celebrity. However, eventually Juan would post a video, or appear in a video I should say, that many believe led to his death. In the video, which I showed you at the front of this video, Juan essentially tells the leader of one of Mexico's most powerful drug cartels, El Mencho, that he can suck his dick. About a month after that video was posted online and went viral, Juan posted publicly that he was going to head to a bar in Sinaloa called Menta Tu Cartaros. That was the last post he would ever make on social media. Almost immediately after arriving at the bar that evening, a group of masked men burst in and started firing. Juan, the Pirate of Culiacan, was shot approximately 15 times and died on the scene, and a second unidentified man also died in the shooting. By the way, I misspoke earlier in the video. He was in Jalisco. He wasn't in Sinaloa, but to this day, the murder of Juan is not solved, and his killers remain at large and free in Mexico. So, did the posting of that video really lead to his death? Those are questions that we think we have the answers to, but we still officially don't. But rest in peace to the Pirate of Culiacan.
Is Iran next? The country's 92 million people are heading into their 6th day of an internet blackout. Their currency has collapsed to zero against the dollar. International calls and even electricity has been shut down in certain areas. Protests have spread to over 100 cities and all 31 provinces in the country. But as the crowds grow, so too does the loss of life. Footage, which we can't show on here, shows body bags lining the streets outside morgues in Tehran. At the low end, estimates say 650 have been killed so far. At the high end, some estimates are into the thousands. But this seems to have only angered people more because in a stunning show of dissent at a funeral for those killed, where usually the ceremony would include chants of "There is no God but Allah," instead they were replaced with chants "Death to Khamenei," the country's supreme leader. So, is Iran next? Well, yesterday, the regime responded with an emphatic no. They decided to fight back and organize huge pro-government rallies attempting to show the world they still have support. And keep in mind, the current regime has been in power for over 3 decades, and they have faced even bigger protests in the past, but every single time they have weathered the storm. But one could argue the main difference now is they've never faced the Great Orange Storm. Trump has threatened military strikes. He's announced 25% tariffs on any country doing business with Iran. And he did just snatch a country's leader out of his bed in the middle of the night. So we are in unprecedented times. But Iran is very different. They've literally said they are prepared for war if that's what it comes to, and the US intervenes. But it's also not just the US. Protests have erupted in countries around the world in solidarity with the people of Iran. And so, for now, the world watches and waits to see